So, everybody here has done a pension projected, that's correct? So you know you've gone into the HR Connect Kingdom, you know you've gone to retirement, select my HR pension. I just bring in a couple of slides. I'm going to talk about the planning for retirement and a retirement guide, and that's where you'll find them. And a slide after that, I'm going to talk about secure mailbox. But you've gone into my HR pension, which brings you to this page. You have the pension tab. When you select the pension tab, you get this drop-down menu. And run pension estimates, which of course is where you go. While I have you here, I'm going to draw your attention to beneficiaries. This is where you'll go if you want to change or add beneficiaries. And when you look at all this and you say, shit, this is fantastic, you're going to go right here and you're going to retire now. And this is where you can submit your online retirement. Everything is in this drop-down menu. But for now, we're going to run pension estimate. And when it opens up and you get, this is the top of the page with the little graph and your annual amount right here. That shows your joint and survivor 50% option annual for right there. This is the page that every time you open it up, defaults to your first unreduced pensionable date. So this automatically is the first day of the month after your 55th birthday or after you have attained 80 points, whichever one of those two events occurs most recently. At the bottom of that, of course, you know you can go down and you can hit redisplay projection, put in whatever date you want. And then, the other thing I should say, for somebody like me who already has their 55 and 80, I've already got my unreduced date, this automatically defaults to your normal retirement date, age 65. It figures, well, you didn't go the first day you could, so you're obviously never leaving. So we're going to show you age 65. So when you pick the date you want, you go up here to pension forms of payment, you now get this second window open, and this is where you see the dollar value. So this is where the 1%, the quote-unquote, the payment, 50%, 60%, right? So you'll see about a 1% difference in your figures right here. You'll notice a corresponding 10% difference in the spouse's figures. This is for the normal pension or level life, where you get the same amount every month from the date you retire to the date you die. This is the higher to 65, before 65, after 65, 50% and 60%, right? Those are the options. At the bottom of this page, bottom left-hand corner, if you have not done it, you will see this link says calculation details, which is in the bottom of the pension forms of payment page. When you select on this, you now get a third window open. In my opinion, it is this page, this third window, the calculation details. This is the most important page on the entire calculation. Why? Because this is the data, this is your explanation. This data explains the dollar values that you saw on the previous page, pension forms of payment. When your pension changes up or down, increases or decreases, it is this page that will explain why. This will show you more service. This will show you higher average annual compensation. This will show you higher YMPE. Whatever the change is that has caused a change, whatever happened that has changed a cause in the dollar values is explained here. This is the page I need to see to understand when you say, hey, I was getting $3,000 a month and I just went in and now it just shows me $2,750. How come I lost $50 a month? This is the page I need to see. I need to see the one from 3,000 and I need to see the one from 2950 because I can do a line check. Oh, okay, well, you went up $10 on your average annual compensation, but your YMPE went up $3,000. That's why you're down $50 a month. Oh, and by the way, you got 35 years of service, right? So you should print these and keep these. You can keep 6 or 8 of them electronically by naming them or dating them. But then as soon as you save a new one, the oldest one drops out. I always recommend doing one of two things. Either save them as PDFs on a stick or on your own device, or print them in a hard copy and keep them that way. And the reason I say save them and print them is the minute you close out of this program, they are lost forever. The system does not keep them. You can't phone up and say, I went from 3,000 to 2,950, what happened? Because I saw a projection last July that says 2,950. Air Canada will ask you the same question, send me the calculation details page, I need to see it. Well, I didn't save it. Then I can't tell you why it's dropped. I can't tell you what the difference is. So the problem is it's cumbersome. You must print these 3 pages one at a time. The first page, the second page, the third page. They don't have the technology to allow you to print all three of them at the same time. So it is cumbersome, but it is very important to keep them. The closer you get to your retirement date, the more often you should do them. You should do at least one a year. And the reason for that is that this projector has built-in assumptions. And it has two significant built-in assumptions, and the first is on your average annual compensation. It never projects any future increase in your compensation. Whatever compensation you have locked in, whatever is shown right here, it doesn't matter if you project next month, next year, or 10 years from now, it assumes you're making the exact same amount of money. The only thing it changes is how much service you have on those future dates. So, as you know, you're going to get 2% wage increases, those types of things. None of that is taken into account. It doesn't foresee you working any overtime, so no changes in that direction. So that's an assumption that's a little bit benign because you're basically projecting a worst case scenario, and if you make more money, then you should be getting a higher pension. Right? However, I showed you how you can make a smaller one. The thing that's more insidious, the thing that will bite you, is they do not project any future increases in the YMPE. So if you went in tomorrow and did a projection, it will assume $55,900 to 2018 YMPE for every year you projected in the future. You could ask for 2028, 10 years from now, and it will use 55.9 for every year in between. And we know that that will not be a true statement. So you should do at least one of these every calendar year, because in January, they will load up the 2019 value. And then they'll project 2019 for all future dates, and in 2020 they'll do the same thing, etc. When you're within the same calendar year, then obviously the YMPE is correct, it's effective, and you're fairly close on your average earnings. And so that's why the closer you get to your retirement date, the more often you should do them. You should do a minimum of one per calendar year for the reason of the YMPE. So pension information on the Aeronet, this is just a continuation. This is the bottom of that calculation details page. And the reason I'm showing you this is right here it says plan information. So again, one more link on the bottom of that third page. This, if you click plan information, you get this information right here. Beneficiary bulletins, consent notice, application for maximum transfer values, pension. So this is all other information, retirement guides, that's on the Aeronet that's related to your pension. They've collated it all into one location. All of these things can be found in other places on the Aeronet, but here's a real easy place to find everything you need with one click. So I told you to remember slide 36. This is the retirement guide, step by step. This is an 8-page PDF that's available. I highly recommend that everybody print this document, read it, follow it when you are getting ready to retire. Right before you send in your application 3 months ahead, print this up, read it. This is an easy to read, easy to understand, 8-page guide to your retirement. If you read this, follow it, I guarantee you a problem-free retirement. This is the retirement, planning for retirement right here. This is currently disabled. This, they just disabled it a couple of months ago. This is an online pension seminar video that's been on here for 3 or 4 years, 4 or 5 years. They are updating it. And so right now it's currently unavailable, and supposedly it'll be back online sometime next year. It essentially is telling you all of the information that I'm telling you during this hour. They do a much better job of it here online if you wanted to go to it. So your annual pension statement, this is the document that shows up in your Air Canada mailbox in late June or early July every year that you look at and you grunt and throw in the garbage can right next to your mailbox. Every registered pension plan in Canada must send every member an annual pension statement every year by law. Tells you a minimum amount of information, who you are, when you were born, when you joined the plan, what your pension benefit is at the end of that year if you left the plan, what's your first unreduced pensionable date and how much you should get, what you'll get at age 65 projected, how much you contributed plus interest that year, what your total contributions with interest to the end of the year, etc. So it's stale dated to start with. It's a snapshot figure of where you were as of December 31st of the previous year. So when you got your 2017 statement in July of 2018, it showed you where you were 6 months prior to that. So this used to be the only kind of pension information we got each year from the pension plan, but the Aeronet projector far supersedes this. You can get access to this in the secure mailbox that I told you, remember, up in the top corner of the previous slide. They have your last 3 years in PDF format in here. When they put the 2019 one in, the 2016 one will drop out, etc. So again, you can print the PDFs or save the PDF somewhere else if you want them. The other thing about the secure mailbox is when you get in the secure mailbox, you have the ability to choose that as your primary point of contact with the pension department. Now what that means is rather than them mail you documents or send you things with inquiries or forms you need in Canada Post, they will drop them electronically in this mailbox. And that means you'll get it the same day, maybe the next day. And you don't have to worry about rotating strikes at Canada Post or any of those types of things.